I just started YouTube Live. Samir bhai, just check once it's working
Yeah.
on YouTube for our backup purpose only. And I'm starting recording also
So are we
with
going
the
to
permission of all.
do this in German? Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Ja?
Ja.
Gut.
Ich
Dr.
wohne in
Kantas is the
Deutschland.
chairman of our international forum. He's in
Okay.
US, and he's my teacher. I learned adolescent medicine under him.
Oh, okay. Schön, Sie kennenzulernen.
Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch.
Hm. Nice.
We'll do this in English, I understand. Or Dutch or French. What language shall we use?
Dr. Great Hannes is from Dutch origin.
We can do Dutch. That's my background.
Ah, okay.
Dutch American.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just sit back and listen and comment later, as Dr. Bahab asked me to do.
No,
Auf
ask,
Wiedersehen.
requesting. Yeah, we all will in the end.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Hi, Yashwant.
Prasan, have you started live YouTube?
Yeah, but not able to see. That is figuring out. Just a minute. Yes, I'm just checking it. Give me a minute. Yeah, it's done. So I think without taking much of a time, let's start. People will
Yes,
start
sir.
joining. So Samir bhai, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So very good evening, friends. And once more, we welcome you all in today's one more episodes of the international webinar series of the AACCI. We all know AACCI very well now because AACCI is known for its such a innovative ideas, and we had started it in 2007 with the our founder chairman Dr. R.D. Lele with the executive director Dr. Swati Bhaveman, with a pillar that includes our own parents and school teachers, along with our young adolescents also. We had added one more pillar in 2020, that is the grandparents. And with all this, we had really did a great work into the urban areas related with the adolescent and young adults. And we know one feather we had added this year is an international adolescent for activity and webinar series. Actually, we had started last year and we had did a one grand opening of that international webinar series. And now this year we had started with a continuous series of till December. It is already planned. And this is one of the today's unique webinar panel discussion with our young brigade along with our young enthusiastic youth forum in charge Dr. Prasant Sarya. And I requesting our executive director Dr. Swati Bhave ma'am to keep Mr. Yashwant Bhave, sir.
Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Welcome our chair, Professor Grade Annis from USA. Welcome all the three young panelists, Manasi, Shivani, and Saurabh. And the parents of Saurabh, Dr. Shailaja Mane and Dr. Vijay Kumar. And Devansh, another young youth AACCI member. And Gayatri Solanke also from Germany. Vidya Gaikwad is also one of our faculty. The idea of this program is that a lot of Indian students have the dreams of going abroad. Some of them are very fortunate that they get guidance from home, or they have people who are already abroad who help them to sort of transit into this. But some of the families really do not know what to expect. And our aim is to have a series of these webinars so that the children and the parents who are wishing to study abroad get an idea as to what it means to apply to a foreign university, how do you prepare for it, how do you choose the country, how do you choose the university, what happens when you really reach there, what are the cultural differences you need to adopt, some do's and don'ts. So without spending too much time on the introduction, I would like to hand over. Mr. Bhave, are you there, our chairperson? We both both our sons have gone abroad and they have done their master's and PhD from Carnegie Mellon University. So we were parents who had sent our children abroad, and a lot of us had to really go through details. And I'm still counseling a lot of parents and children to go abroad. So Yashwant, can you say a few words and then hand over to Prashant, our chairman of AACCI?
Thank you, Executive Director and Samir, for a good introduction. I think this topic is very important because today we are going into an interconnected world. So to see what is happening and what is not happening in India as well as there. And then these people are actually ambassadors of India. That is one part. Second part is there are a lot of what I would say positivity as well as sometimes negativity depending on the country about India. So these people must be or should be made aware of that there is bound to be some negativity, there is bound to be some positivity, country specific, and they have to address to that. Third point is it has become very expensive, at least in USA and so on. Elsewhere also, I'm not so much familiar with with others. And I just read that in USA, one of the most important problems weighing on the minds of the people, or the students rather, is what after? What is there afterwards? The old American dream probably is no longer in existence for the young people going from here. Those who are settled, very good. That is fine. They are doing well. So that also a reality check is important. And that is where our ambassadors who already are there can be of help. So the expectations are not, I would say, expanded beyond reasonable limits. Otherwise, the young people today is actually far more savvy than what our generation was. And that is good because each generation has to add something to the older one. Standing on the maybe baggage, you can call it, of the older generation. So that is how things are. So I am looking forward to any sort of, things which we could have done differently, maybe or maybe not, who knows. Now, of course, it's late but never late to learn. And I wish all the participants great success and your future in any foreign country, the great success. But take care that when you go abroad, you get to know the political, economic, and social milieu in that country. So that is the most important, whether it is standing up to your rights, which you always must, or standing up to humanity's right, which you also must, but that you have to take care of the contours of that, I can call limitation, because you are not in India. India, you are different. Outside, you are not in India. So you have to keep that in mind while pursuing your course of action. Thank you.
Madam, unmute.
Mr. Chairman, now Prashant, you can take over and start the session.
Madam, at least I take a privilege to introduce Prashant first.
Oh, yes. Please do.
So it's my privilege to introduce our youth forum in charge, Dr. Prasant Karya, our young and dynamic youth forum in charge. And at presently, he is the executive board member of the Central IAP from the West Zone, also the website convener of the Central IAP. And he has in feather many publications and many presentations in the list, but it will be the just important thing is he is one of the good youth representative of the IF, our AACCI, that he can ultimately conclude this today's panel discussion in such a way that we have to give some take home messages to the each and every participant who really looking forward to some good take home message from the each and every panelists who are taking a risk of the how they are exposed for the whole this to so many years to continue this study, and also taking a good quality of the work and services they are going to provide after the completion in the international market, what we can say rather than the we can say in the international platform. So I now hand over the mic to the Prasant for the further proceeding. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm a father of a teenager who is in 12th standard at present. He asked me, Papa, यहाँ पढ़ूं के बाहर पढ़ूं? कहाँ पढ़ूं? I mean, there are so many fields in which the students are actually going abroad. In our days, only two branches were there, medical or engineering. But I'm glad all our three panelists, they have chosen something different. And they've gone beyond boundaries. They have chosen the field which actually has been liked by them. Now, this journey from India to foreign land, sometimes it is easy, sometimes it is problematic. But let's hear directly from them. And to hear the stories, we do have three young panelists with us. They all are a member of our youth forum of AACCI. First, I'll introduce Saurabh. Saurabh, first of all, congratulations for getting graduation on today's day only. So congratulations. And Saurabh, he has actually worked with AACCI for more than 10 years. I mean, he was in India. At that time, he was a young volunteer. He has done his, by profession, he's actually a design engineer, and just graduated in MS in Human Computer Interaction from the University of Maryland. He completed his bachelor's computer science from Pune University, and I'm glad that Saurabh is with us. So welcome, Saurabh.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Then we do have a Mansi with us. Mansi is actually a undergraduate student from the University of Sydney. She has done Bachelor of Visual Arts and Advanced Studies, majoring in Contemporary Art and Film Studies. So, I mean, this is something different, and I am sure that the parents who want to send their children to some different field, they will be inspired by the story of a Mansi, a journey of a Mansi. She has moved to Sydney in August 2021, and with this, she was 19 when she started moving to a foreign country, and I'm sure that she will be sharing much of her journey experience with us. And again, she is from the Pune, done 11th and 12th from the Indus International School. So welcome, Mansi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And we do have a Shivani with us, Shivani Pimparkar. She has actually completed master's degree in biotechnology at DY Patil University in Pune. And for her final year project, she has an opportunity to work at Queen's University, UK. And this international experience was such transformative that she actually chosen to go abroad and start her journey in Boston University from August. So welcome, Shivani.
Thank you, sir.
Now, okay. Now, just give me a minute that I'll be just asking you few of the questions. This all questions are actually just randomly asked as a parent. I mean, I'm asking you this all questions like I want to send my child abroad in different fields, and one by one, you all can just answer. So the first question, a common question which has been asked is your academic background in India. What was that? I mean, I've given a brief about that, but then why you choose the country, may it be a USA, UK, or Australia? Why you choose it for your further studies? We start with Saurabh.
Can you please repeat the question, like the starting part?
So I just want to ask what I mean. See, I've just given a brief about your academic background in
Yes,
India
yes.
and then about your graduation, all these
Mhm.
things. But I just want to ask in detail about your academic background in India as well as why you choose the country in which you are studying at present.
Yes, yes. So my bachelor's was in computer science from Pune University, the Maharashtra Institute of Technology College to be specific. And during my time there, and especially in third and fourth year, I was introduced to a, a unique field at the time called human-computer interaction. Um, this field, and this is something I wanted to perceive during that time. And before I was introduced to this field, I was familiar with other specific specializations such as data science, machine learning, software engineering. But this specialization specifically spoke to me, and like this is something I wanted to pursue further. And this also requires a mixed background of design and computer science. So uh, I just had the background of computer science, and only with that, entering the job market would have been really difficult for me for that specific kinds of jobs. So that's why I decided to pursue a master's in human computer interaction, which would create my profile more towards this field. And I chose US because only in US at the time the field was being explored to that level, and majority of the HCI research at the time was also coming from USA. So mm and there were other few options from Europe as well, but the number of colleges and the number of different opportunities were the highest in US for the specific field. And that was for sure for me. Like this is the field that I want to pursue, and I was sure shot. Like regardless of which country this would have been, I would have gone to that country. But it happened to be that it is in US and not the other way around.
Fine, Saurabh. I mean, I know your mom, Shailja ma'am. What was her reaction when you said that I'm not going to study in India and I'm going to go abroad and going to do this human-computer interaction?
Uh, so they are doctors. They are from medical field. So uh, I didn't think the reaction was different because they didn't know if I'm the like they were not aware about the different minute differences within, like if it's a human computer interaction or like some data science. Uh the surprise was when I decided to not pursue medical and go for computer science, and which was in 11 12 standards. So they already had their share of surprise way before.
Fine, Saurabh.
Yeah.
Talking, we just want to talk few more things about this only at present, Saurabh. So, can you tell me what are the preparations actually required before going US or going any destination regarding this? What type of preparation was required? What documents and procedures you have followed? And I mean, such as visa applications or a vaccination, any other things which are required?
Mm, yeah. So since the field was a little unique and different at the time. I didn't have many seniors or classmates who knew about the field. So I did decide to go for consultancy agencies within Pune. And in fact, just to make sure, I took two of them. But preparing for the majority for for all the fields, what you require is a SOP, which is the main statement of purpose, and that determines a lot whether you get selected for a college or not. Other than that, the second most important thing is your resume and your projects that you have done during your undergrad, and mm, this shapes your profile for the job for the master's application. However, I even though I had taken two consultancies, I felt like over time, even they had limited knowledge within that field, and all the research I had to do was on my own, and therefore, like just going through the websites and looking at programs and who is which department the program is under. They're like very minute specifications that we have to go through. I don't know how detailed you want me to go, but yeah, this is.
Yeah, I mean, this is something which actually parents will be asking because, see, say for example, I want to send my child abroad in a human-computer interaction. Then there are very limited resources available online as well as
Yes.
the expertise is
Yes.
available. That's why we want to share, we want to listen to you regarding your experience. I mean, what were the obstacles that you found while going
I see.
over there and everything?
Yeah, the first obstacle was like I didn't know any other person from my college or class who was like going for this specific masters, which uh, which makes you think whether I'm doing the right thing or wrong thing, like how is the market going to be and stuff. But uh, I did have those doubts at the time, but I was determined, like if it whatever it is, like I'm at it, like I wanted to do that like internally. So I didn't worry about what the market would be or what the opportunities would be. Plus, looking at the resources, there are quite a few resources now, since especially on websites like Reddit and some college forums, where existing students share their experience on how they got where they are in that field, and which helps a lot to learn like first-hand experiences of how they did. And for the for the consultancy side of things, they did help a bit about initiation of the process, but some of the obstacles were knowing when your SOP is good enough, or if your SOP stands out from the rest of the candidates, or is it even good enough. So for that, uh, I contacted my friends who had gone to US before and have applied to similar colleges, but not within the field, but similar colleges and profiles. And they helped me review my own SOP and gave me suggestions, and which took like many iterations. And a good SOP takes months. And I did start before, so that helped a lot. Like starting a SOP early helps a lot, and that is something like parents should be aware about, because this is the most what do you call it? Underrated part of the of the uh, college application. Everyone is like, okay, we'll just write an essay and it will be done with. But I think that is one of the major parts that parents should take into consideration and see s- uh, if their kid is on the track of making a SOP and then reiterating it through before the deadlines.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Saurav. We will come back to you after a while.
Mhm.
We would like to listen to now Mansi. Mansi, can you say something about your academic background and why you choose this different field? What were the obstacles again, and what are the preparations required if a student want to pursue a career in your field?
Okay. Yeah, firstly, hello everyone. I thank you for having me here. So my academic background, so I came to Australia as soon as I finished high school. Yeah. So for high school, I did an IB board high school, which is called International Baccalaureate. If if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's like the full form of IB. And basically this board, it it sort of it fosters and it teaches students sort of global education. So it doesn't matter what you want to study for your higher education, this board preps you for that. So even if you want to do medicine, or if you want to get into research, scientific research, if you want to get into like engineering, or if you want to get into art, like how I did, I'm pursuing visual art right now. And I think my IB board high school really, really helped that, because that was the first time I was introduced to visual arts as a professional subject and not just as an art class, in our schools. Because that's how art used to be in my primary. like primary education till 10th standard. It was just a fun class, fun period where you do nothing. Oh, you just like have fun. But in high school, we had one very professional class where you get to learn about the history. You're taught art history, and you're taught about different concepts. So that was like, you can call that as my academic background before I applied for undergrad to Australia. And then my my journey to Australia, like why I chose Australia and everything. So you can call me as the COVID batch because I finished my high school right when the pandemic started. Like I didn't even get to finish my high school in peace. Like it was just abruptly stopped because of the lockdowns and everything. So because of that abrupt halt, I didn't get a lot of the sort of like periods, like how you have to like get your marks back, you get your scores back, and then you apply to colleges, and that's how you go through it. Because this was like the lockdown and COVID, I think it was very harsh for my batch. So I applied to a bunch of Indian colleges at that time, or some Indian art colleges, but for reasons, because I couldn't meet the, what do you call it, the marks requirement, because my badge got affected by COVID. They kind of rejected me. So that was a bit of a disappointment. And then at the same time, I think my parents told me to start applying to Australian universities. They're like, try your luck there, because your brother, like my brother, has studied in Australia as well. So they have some knowledge about education in Australia. So that's what they told me to apply there. And I started applying, and the main requirement for all universities I applied to in Australia was my portfolio. So that was a really good advantage for me, because I had a very strong portfolio, but my marks were not that great because of the pandemic. It came and then it ruined all the exams. So luckily, that's what they looked at more than my maths marks or my science marks. They looked at my potential for the art. And yeah, they accepted me here as a student. And this is my final year. I'll be finishing end of this year. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. I mean, the COVID has changed many people's life. We used to say
Yeah.
pre-COVID era and post-COVID era. So in that, you have actually got into a field which is totally new. Can you throw more light about your field? I mean, what exactly is it? I mean, in Bachelor's of Visual Arts or like Contemporary Art and Film Studies, what exactly the students are doing? I mean, what is the scope of this field? Can you just tell the parents about this also?
Yeah. So, oh, sorry. So, I chose this. This is so a Bachelor of Visual Arts and Advanced Studies is a more sort of niche degree compared to, it's very similar to a Bachelor of Fine Arts, actually. It's very similar to that degree where they teach you on the skill. The first 2 years are spent in teaching students on their skill, each skill, whether it's photography or it's sculpture making or it's painting or it's working with glass as a medium as well. So it's very, first 2 years are spent in skill-based classes. And then eventually in your third year and fourth year, they start training you to start thinking differently. So there's a lot of critical thinking involved. They want students to sort of break out of the structure of mainstream thinking. It's basically a school for, producing artists, where you are encouraged to just follow your thought, your brain, your thought, and not fall prey to the general public. They're trying to make you a different human being. And the scope for this in Because then we think about, okay, what are we going to do with this degree in the professional world, right? So that's when people with this degree get into fields like they get into the corporate workforce, but they are the part of a team where they bring in the human creative side to anything. So, for example, in an advertising field where the person's in charge, or in a team where there's somebody who's in charge of visualizing the, I don't know, whatever brand they're trying to sell, or in marketing as well. Or, for example, in architecture, it works out in architecture as well, where you need somebody to visualize all your concepts and all your ideas. So these are some of the fields I've researched as well for my future to get into. But filmmaking is also a niche area which I'm really interested in. So I would like to love to be part of a crew who's making the best films. But yeah, that's a little bit about visual art, where it's a degree to help encourage every student for their own thought process. It's a place where you can express, and of course, you can choose to be a freelance artist as well, where you create your own artworks and then you can start exhibiting in galleries, and that's how you build your way through that. You become a complete artist. And or you can go into revolutionary work, so you can work with like, for example, in architecture, you're mixing science and art together, so that sort of thing as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Fancy, one more thing which, as a parent, I'm curious.
Yeah.
One, what is the duration of this bachelor's course, and what are the scopes for masters, and what are the finances involved in this? I mean, suppose I want to send my child abroad to Australia, then what will be the costing? Can you just say something about that also?
Yeah. So the duration for the course I'm doing right now is 4 years. So there are two kinds of courses. You can either just do a Bachelor of Visual Arts, which is just 3 years, or you can do a Bachelor of Visual Arts and Advanced Studies, which is 4 years. So most degrees in Australia, from my knowledge, irrespective of which state it's from, most degrees here are just 3 years. They're not more than 3 years. It's literally any, whether it's a Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Visual Arts, they're all only 3 years. So to do the extra 4th year, you have two options. You can either do honors, they call it honors out here, or you can do an advanced studies, like how I'm doing it, which is basically an extra year of research, in-depth research, and also giving you some sort of idea as to what you're going to do in the professional world. So it's a year where you're being taught as to how you can now apply all of this knowledge into the real world. So 4 years, I would say, if you want to do Bachelor of Visual Arts and Advanced Studies, it's a 4-year course. And what was the next question was finances, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so finances. So another thing about my education is I'm an Australian citizen, so I sort of get funded by the government. I don't have to pay upfront fees, but from the fee I look at as an annual basis, what I give is, I think it's like a total of $9,000 annually, $8,000 to $9,000 annually. But this can obviously differ when it comes to an international student. And I haven't sort of looked into that because I haven't had the need to look into that. But from my conversations with my friends who are also international students, they tell me that normally international fees double that of local. So if you double that up, it can be up to $18,000 annually speaking. But that's just, I think, for finances, looking up every degree has it very clear cut on the website of the University of Sydney website. Um, that's where you can get it. But this is another reason why I chose Australia as well, because I was born here. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Now
Yeah.
coming to Shivani. Yeah, Shivani. Tell us something about your academic background of India, as well as why you have chosen Boston for your further studies. So to you, yeah, Shivani.
Thank you, sir. So, I've completed my integrated master's in biotechnology. So, it was basically a 5-year course, which includes 4 years of rigorous coursework and 1 year of research placement. And for my final year research placement, I was in Queen's University. And while working there, I decided that this is what I want to do. I was interested in the dry lab uh, portion of the studies. So I want to, so just to build on that foundation, I decided that I am going to get a degree in bioinformatics at Boston University. And so this is a 1 year course. And yeah, so I will be joining in August. So I'm preparing for the visa documentation and everything right now.
Yeah, fine, Shivani. Uh, Shivani, few more things. Can you just say about the same question which I asked to Saurabh? What are the preparations required while you're going abroad? I mean, is there any online applications, visa process, vaccination? What are the things which are being required?
Yes, so as he said, we require the SOP. So your SOP needs to be um, it should be up to the mark. So even I would recommend to consult people who are there, or so I consulted my professors for any suggestions they had and any corrections I could do to make my SOP stronger. And also, you require your academic transcripts ready, like your degree certificates and all your mark sheets. Yeah, and also the financial documents. So while searching for the universities, I was clear that I want to go to Boston University because it offered merit scholarship. There are other universities as well which have this MS in bioinformatics program, but since it had the merit scholarship, I went with Boston University. And yeah, so the and for the visa documentation, you have to fill the you require the financial documents and the I-20. So it's really difficult to secure the visa slot for the interview right now. But yeah, once you get the I-20, it's easier.
One more thing which I would like to ask you, Shivan, is you said that you have done your master's degree from DY Patil, and then for your final year project, you had an opportunity to work at Queen's University, UK. Can you share
Yes.
some experience, a memorable experience of that?
Um, so one memorable experience would be it was very different for me since I went there with a very Indian mentality that you have to work on the weekends and you can work overtime. But I saw that there is a work-life balance over there, and so it's a very diverse academic environment as compared to Indian environment. And also the weather, since I went there in December, it was very cold and the days were shorter and the nights were longer. It used to get dark at 4 p.m. So that was very new for me. So it was difficult to adjust with that. But eventually I adjusted, and that was something very new for me. So, and also the food culture is a bit different since I'm a vegetarian. it is recommended that you should learn how to cook, and there are vegan options available, but they are very limited. So that was also something new that I had faced during my placement. Hello? Hello?
Has Prashant got frozen? Okay.
Yeah.
So we can, I'll just take over till
Yeah.
Prashant.
Yeah, I think my laptop is having some issue of voice. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're better audible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
there is some issue with the laptop. So moving ahead, I just want to ask few more things to all our participants. Sorry. Yeah, I just want to ask hello.
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, I just want to ask, as Shivani said, she is a pure vegetarian. She finds some issues of food. So I just want to ask now, Saurabh and Mansi, both of you, that you moved from India to different universities. So transition to this new academic and social environment, sometimes it brings some new challenges. So can you share some challenges which you face, and how do you adopt to the university culture? I mean, the culture is also different in both the universities. So can you just share something about that also? First, Saurabh, and then Mansi.
Yeah. So so when I first arrived here, the one of the biggest cultural shock was like how far everything is from everything else. For example, in I think I've traveled Europe, and like I've lived in India, so we are used to having things like on a walking distance. If you want something, you just go down and walk few minutes and you get it. But in USA, like you need a car, and without a car, just traveling around and getting small things is very difficult. So one thing that I had to get used to is buying in bulk and storing it at home and using it over time, because that is to minimize the number of trips to the grocery stores. Another thing that I had to adopt was like cooking. Mm, I I I'm I'm an adjustable guy. Like I didn't want Indian food all the time, or even at the time. Like I was ready to adjust to whatever food is available here. Uh, but you realize that it's not sustainable in long term to like just keep eating new things. And I had to go back to learning some things. I had a amazing roommate who taught me how to cook biryani in like 30 minutes time. So that helped me get over the first semester uh, hump. First semester also where you have to do the most adjustment part, and I suggest like a suggestion I would give is like taking subjects which are a little bit easier if you have the option compared to the harder subjects. You can push them to the second semester and spend all the time in the first semester to adopting and get setting up your living and work environment. Mm, Other than that, in terms of academic and college culture, uh, sometimes in colleges, like I wouldn't say my college or like in general, like there's a general sense of if there's an academic deadline, you can just do things on the day or few hours before and submit something. Or even if you haven't done it, you can ask for an extension and you will get like 1 day extension, then you can give it, and then this professor will just accept it and go on, give you the grades and move on with it. That doesn't happen in US universities. All your academic submissions have to go through a portal, and the portal has a strict deadline. If you message your professor or the teaching assistant way before, then they can make some provisions for you to adjust. But if you don't do that, and at the last minute you're like, okay, maybe I cannot submit this assignment today, then there's nothing you can do. Like you have to prepare you have to on a Saturday, Sunday, on a weekend, you have to prepare for the upcoming week as a master student on what deadlines there are today, how much food you are cooking, where are you are going. I need to manage the three factors, which is like socializing, academics, and your health. And the balance goes on, like, at least for me, it went on for like uh 4 semesters, 4 semesters and 5 semesters. So that's something you, even as an adult, have to get used to, like balancing three factors and your motivations and objectives, and many random factors that come along with it. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Saurabh. And now to Mansi.
Yeah, I think yeah, Saurabh also pretty much covered a lot of things because it's quite, in that sense, it's quite similar with Australian and American culture. It's probably the only difference from just the experiences I've heard as well and what I experienced myself. Australia is a little bit more relaxed. It's a bit more sort of, you can call it laid back in a way. So when it comes to academic pressure or anything to do with the university where you're under duress or you're under stress, or even if your assignment is giving you stress, the teacher will be like, it's okay, you come first, the assignment comes second. So they're very, that's a very like general way of saying it, but I think the professor student relationship here is very easygoing. It's not very like stressed out where you're trying to I mean you still have to manage everything, which is also something I learned that um food I learned to cook as well. Although I learned at home, but then this was like the real time when I had to like start cooking myself. Because there's only so much you can actually eat like outside food or something. It's not healthy. It's not very healthy as well. So you start learning to cook yourself, and then with that, you learn how to start budgeting your groceries because the inflation in Australia is going too bad. Everything is getting very expensive right now. It's not the best time when it comes to money for students as well, at least. So you have to really pay attention to where you're spending. Look at here, another thing, probably, I think this will be very helpful for people is there's no concept of, say, MRP or something, how we have in India, where one particular item costs the same, irrespective, like a brand. You take like a brand of moisturizer, it'll cost the same if you go to any shop, right? But here they differentiate from each shop. So every say groceries, some grocery stores have cheaper groceries compared to another store, even if it's the same brand of the item, but it'll be cheaper in one shop and it'll be expensive in the other. So that really, I think that was a big eye opener for me. So then that helped me like budget my groceries. And when it comes to culture shock as well, I think just people are very I think it's very individualistic. This is like a harsh truth, but it's very, people are very like, they love solitude. They like their own time. They like their own privacy. Um, like, and that comes, so it takes time to make friendships as well. It takes a lot of time because people won't like just reveal their entire truth to you at the first meeting. They'll keep you at a distance. Whereas that's very different to how it's in India. In India, everybody is very warm and welcoming instantly. But here, people are still like, they'll take some time to warm up to you. So that was the biggest shock for me, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Now, before taking the questions of others, I will just ask all three of you. I mean, all three of you are in a different field. So, can you just tell me, how do you envision the future of the field in which you are studying? What is the future of your field? Starting with Shivani, Mansi, and Saurabh.
So I believe that there is a great future to this field specifically. because during lockdown, as we know, everything shifted to the dry lab, and we started using computer more, and so I feel like, and I have contacted my seniors who are there at Boston University, and they are really enjoying the coursework, and have good jobs, and they enjoy their field. So I believe that there's a great future to this field, and I'm very hopeful that my journey goes the same way.
Yeah. Thank you, and all the best for the same.
Yeah.
Saurabh?
So yeah, I don't know about like I don't know how to generalize or be how specific I should be about my field, but my field has to do with computer science and engineering. So you must have everyone has heard about the new upcoming AIs and generative AIs plus coding AI bots. So right now the market is not great for computer science or tech students. Uh, and in specifically in my field, the product design roles have decreased up to like 77% from 2022, so which is a huge amount of like number of jobs decreasing. It's hard to tell, but uh, like even the best investors from Silicon Valley don't know about what's going to happen about my field, so I don't know how much I can put. But in my experience, it what if I were had to suggest to students or parents, it's like as long as you're doing what you wanted to do, you can own it and say like I did this and every other factor was out of my hand, and the things that you can control and things that you can't. So if you had fun doing things that you could control, I think that's well worth it. The things out of your hand like COVID and pandemics and job market, job situations, like it's all uh there'll be like demands and layoffs and stuff, and there's nothing much you can do about it. So uh the field is still good, like in terms of research, and there'll still be uh, great software engineers required, product designers required, design engineers required. It's just the number of people required by each companies is going down because the tools that have been developed over the years increase the productivity of individuals like significantly. So where you needed like uh, like four employees, now you can just have one employee who can use the advanced tools of AIs. So uh, in that sense, the number of people required by companies going down, but people are still required and the jobs are still there, and they are
Yeah.
in fact highly paid, because what happens is like if you're replacing four people, your the salaries that company has to pay goes down like by four times, so they increase the salary of the single person by 1.5 times or even two times in some cases. So it's up to the individual candidates to see if they fit into that place and can get that position.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, your field, I just remember one quote. I mean, those actually are in field of AI, I mean, computer interaction and everything. They
Mhm.
say the humans will be required for sure. I mean, everything
Yeah.
will not be automatic. But those who don't know how to use AI will be
Yes.
outdated. So
Yes.
that is the
True.
one most important thing. And I think you are in a field in which this field is actually emerging field and having a good scope. And now to Amansi about your future.
Yeah. So I feel like I personally am a very optimistic artist because I know this whole conversation about, oh, will art be relevant when AI is going to take over? AI is going to just it's going to take over your job profile, but I don't think that's going to happen because there's one thing which artists have, which I don't think is very easy to get into computer programming, and that is human emotion. Um, just pure human emotion, which is very, I don't think can replicate that. Um, so that's why I'm very optimistic that there's a future for artists, and we never stop watching films, so we never stop enjoying TV or movies or um, even just observing and viewing art. People have never stopped enjoying that. There's always been art in and around us, wherever we see. So there's definitely future for me. I'm hopeful of that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I mean, we actually enjoyed, and before we end, I just would like to ask Dr. Donald and Dr. Swati ma'am to give their final comments or ask few questions which I have missed. Ma'am,
Let's start with Dr. Great Anis.
yeah,
Dawn, are you there?
he was there. Let me check.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Go
Hi.
ahead.
Well, I enjoyed your talk very much. Manasi, I think Art does have a good career. I have four daughters now adults, and the youngest is also in art. She went to the University of Michigan to study art, and she's out in California. Her husband is a movie producer, and she gets all kinds of art opportunities to do things. So art is everywhere. It's like if you're in music, music is everywhere. If you're in computers, computers are everywhere. So I think all of you are have excellent careers ahead. The key really is to be flexible and see where the future is going and see where your field is going. And if you need some extra training or an extra boost here or there, knowing people, the more people you get to know in your career, you never know which person is going to help you get to that next level. So life is a wonderful journey. Meet as many people as you can, and you never know when, oh, I remember so and so, and that person can help me. My personal perspective is as a physician, where I would see young people from India who had finished their medical degree, their medical training, their MD degree in India, and then would be coming to the United States, for example, to do a basic residency. In my case, it would be pediatrics, and then they would want to probably go into a subspecialty, such as neonatal intensive care unit, as a neonatologist, or they wanted to be a pediatric kidney specialist or a cardiologist or something, to kind of go through me, get my certificate, and then move on to some type of residency, or they would do a fellowship with me in adolescent young adult work, where they would have their basic pediatric or internal medicine training done, and then they would go on and want to go on into a fellowship. So when they work with, some of the rules that I had, well, just be yourself, be who you are. Try not to be somebody else, because that usually doesn't work. To me, it was a big issue of being reliable, because patients need a reliable doctor. And so if I would say, if we were in a clinic together and we were finishing up the clinic and you had something else to do, you had to go to lunch, or you had to go to dinner, or you had to go date somebody, or who knows what you were doing, I would say, hey, Shivani, would you go see that patient in that room? I know it's not your assignment, but would you go start the workup? I'll finish up here and then I'll come in and help you. And if you were to say to me, Dr. Great, I'm a bit busy right now, and I've got a hot date to go to, or a luncheon, or a dinner, or I've got to go something else, that wouldn't give me a very good impression. And that would be my fault, but still, that would put, so you always go the extra mile with your whoever you're studying with. Now, if I ask you to go rob a bank, then you would say no. But if it's something good, you never know when you need my recommendation. And when someone says, is Shivani really, really good? Is Manasi really good? Is she reliable? And I can say, yes, I have. So always go that extra mile. Each program is different. Each program director is different. But remember, the job of, say, whoever you're working with is to keep their program alive and accredited. In the case of medicine, we would have to follow the rules from Illinois, the infamous Accreditation Council for Graduate Medical Education. So sometimes some residents wouldn't. The reason I'm saying, no, you can't do this, even if that other faculty person says it's okay, is I have to keep my program accredited with the AACCI, and so you can't do that. And understand that if you're working with a supervisor or a director, they have to keep their overall program going. And so there may be a reason why you can't do a particular aspect. And so just you can sometimes ask, why can't I do this? But keeping that program accredited for you to leave an accredited program and get credit or have the next person come is certainly very important. I presence just to do your work, enjoy life. Don't get involved with local politics. Right now, we're having, I think, a problem with a lot of students in different universities that are protesting certain wars. Well, from my viewpoint as an old fella, they're protesting wars that have been going on 5,000 years. People have been fighting against each other for 5,000 years. I don't think your protest is going to solve a lot. Now, the student may disagree, but then what you do is you interfere with your education and with your journey in life. And maybe you made a protest about some glorious philosophy, but you just ruined your career because you may have turned off certain faculty who will never give recommendation. And without those good recommendations from the right people, your career is simply probably finished. Keep up your mental health. Very to say now, here I live in this part of India. I want to go to Australia. I want to go to England. I want to go to the United States or wherever. I want to go to Germany. Why? Why are you doing this? Have a good talk with yourself. Why are you doing this? Who are you pleasing? Just that, or are you following where you want to go with your life's journey? We have had a number of international students who come over to the United States, I'm sure other countries, and they get depressed. They aren't meeting the goals that they want to be. They want to be the best of the best of the best, and they're trying to overreach. And we've had a number of kids get very depressed and actually commit suicide because they didn't reach the goals that they wanted to. Now, there were other issues going on. So I think it's very important to say, why do I want to go to Australia, to England, to the United States, to Germany, to the Netherlands, to wherever? Why do I want to do that? And is it something that's good for my career? Am I pleasing mom and dad, or am I taking care of myself? And as a grandfather, I have to be careful to say to my grandkids, you have to do what I want you to do. No, you do what you want to do. For example, one of my grandsons is 16, and he's a brilliant musician. He's also a good student. He could be a doctor. And I could step into him and say, you don't want to be a musician. You don't want to be an artist. Like I could say to one of my daughters, don't be an artist. I want you to be a doctor because I'm a doctor. And the answer is, I have to be quiet. Follow your heart. Follow where life is a wonderful journey. It can be and it should be. So I have to say to my grandkids, you do what you want to do. Encourage them to do well, but follow your mental health strength. So again, go to another country, have a good idea, why am I going there? And keep up your spirits, your mental health. If you need help because of anxiety, depression, sadness, or something, get the help you need and establish the right goals for yourself and have a good time with it. Now I could say a lot more, but I'll stop there and see what Dr. Bahad would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gredanis. You articulated a lot of my own thoughts because this is what I counsel both parents and children. A lot of children who are in high school, who have not even finished their 10th or boards, they want to go abroad because they just don't like the Indian system. They feel it's too competitive, it's too rote learning. And I have people, parents bringing the child who's in the 9th, saying, I don't want to appear for 10th. I just want to go abroad. So then we have to really give them a reality check that, why are you going abroad? And as Dr. Gredanis said, you need to have your goals very clear. Are you going there only to study and you want to come back to India? It is just for post-graduation, higher learning? Or are you really wanting to emigrate? Or you want to just leave India and go to another country? Because all this will decide what course you're taking. And then many of the children are not aware of their parental finances. They come under peer pressure, and then they equate the parents not able to give them foreign education as lack of love. And there is nothing like a lack of love. If your parents cannot afford the foreign education, you have to adjust to the situation. And I have a lot of parents who are just not able to afford the US fees or going abroad fees, and the children pressurize them, saying, all my friends are going abroad and you don't love us enough to pay for our fees. And I have to also counsel them that foreign education is very costly. And if you parents cannot afford it, you cannot get an inferiority complex that I can't have an education abroad. Indian education is by far still the best. And if you can get the opportunity to go abroad, nothing like it. I have also done a fellowship at Harvard University. And of course, one of the universities in US are one of the best. But many children, we have to advise that if you do not get the opportunity to go abroad, your career is not a failure, you're not a loser. And you still can achieve your dream of going abroad later when you study, because fortunately in US, etc., it's not like India 10th and 12th, that if you don't get admission at X time in your life, your career is zero. You can't go abroad, but you can. And hence, when a person wants to go abroad, he has to think of his own personality. As Dr. Gredana said, is he a strong mental person? Because if you are not a very strong mental person, very often you cannot cope up with the foreign education and the coping skills. And many of my friends' children have come back midway during the course because they could not cope up. So you have to also understand your own personality. Are you capable of staying alone? Are you capable of going to the different culture? Are your parents capable of giving you the foreign education? So it is not just the desire of going abroad, not the desire of getting a degree. There are lots of other things, finances, emotions, your support, etc., etc. So before you just jump and go abroad, you must assess all these things. And Shivani, Mansi, and Saurabh, you all are obviously assessed all this. You are one of those stars and successful children. But I've also had many, many children whose path has not been that easy. The path has not been so successful. And there's a lot of conflict between this generation and parents. So I'm planning to have another webinar where we are going to give guidance to both parents and the children. How are you going to choose it? And how do you know that, yes, you are a person who can cope up with this? And what are the skills required? What else is required? But you three are shining examples. You have managed to get a very good education abroad. You have managed to go through it quite successfully. And I know all of you, your mental health is very good. You are got the coping skills. So it's nice. But you have to also understand that we have to help other children. We have to help other parents to guide them that, the American dream, the Australian dream, the UK dream is not a pipe dream. You have to be really realistic and understand whether you're capable of going through the dream. Thank you, all three of you. It's been wonderful. And we are planning more and more series of the sessions based on the same.
Thank you so much. And as ma'am said, you all were a wonderful panelists. And we are thankful to Dr. Dawn and Dr. Swati Bhave ma'am and Dr. Yashwant Bhave sir to remain till end with us. So see you soon next time in some other webinar. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
Have a
us.
good